Which NFL Week 10 games do you need to bet? Welcome, football fans, gridiron gamblers, and all of my degenerates out there. It's Mitch. Welcome to the video where I break down my favorite picks versus the spread every week of the NFL season. This time for week 10, I have 6 spreads that I like pretty equally this week. Nothing really stands above the rest. But it's a bounce back week here on Money Mitch, and you know what that means. It's time to make some money. So Gronk, spike the like button, and don't be a jabroni. Subscribe to the channel, man. Also, if you're wondering where do you get my actual bets, like the real bets that I make with my real money, that's on Patreon. Link in the description, also the pinned comment. $5 a month, and you get all of my bets every week. Let's kick it off with our first pick. The first pick is going to be the Arizona Cardinals. We're going to a dog. We like the Raiders on Thursday Night Football. The dogs did really well last week. We're going to have plenty of favorites in this video, don't worry, because it's going to balance out. But the Arizona Cardinals +7 is too good of a number to ignore. First of all, the Cardinals lost this matchup, this game, the first game, by 3, 23-20 at home on Thursday Night Football earlier in the year. In that game, Seattle was 1.5 point favorites. That was with Kyler Murray, who the Cardinals have basically deemed to be worse than Jacoby Brissett. The line indicates that the public and or the syndicates and or the people making this line probably feel Kyler's better because 6.5, 7 points, that's a pretty big shift. Now, I understand that the Cardinals haven't exactly lived up to playoff expectations. The Seahawks have maybe looked even better than people expected. But 1.5 at home compared to 7 on the road still feels like there's some value that you're getting here with the Cardinals, because I think Seattle's a little inflated after they've beaten down the Commanders, who are overrated. And Seattle looks real hot and real good right now, right? They had a great defensive performance against the Texans, so they're riding high. But it's not like they're beating elite teams. And the only thing that Arizona has done all year is stay in games. They simply don't get blown out. In their losses this season, they have lost by 1, 3, 1, 4, and 4. Like I mentioned, they lost by 3 to Seattle. They lost by 4 to Green Bay. They lost by 1 to San Francisco. They lost by 4 to Indy. So these are good teams that they lost to. San Fran at home with a healthier version. Green Bay. Seattle themselves. And then the Colts in Indy by 4 with Jacoby Brissett. Jacoby Brissett lost to Indy and Green Bay barely. They also just smacked around Dallas in Dallas. A team that had been averaging 40 points a game at home. Like Dak Prescott doing whatever he wants. Well, Arizona's defense looked really good against Dallas because they are good. Like Arizona's defense is good. The last time they played Seattle, they held JSN to only 79 yards, and much of that came in the fourth quarter. He was really held out of the first 3 quarters, and they did that without their top 2 cornerbacks. Garrett Williams, their nickel corner, who's very good, and Will Johnson, their second-round pick, who is their best corner. They are playing in this game, and they did not play in that Thursday Night Football game where the Cardinals could have used a corner or two. They might have won that game if they had one of those players, right? Seattle is also a much better team on the road. They were last year, and they are this year. At home, they're 2-2, where they lost to the Bucs and they lost to the Niners. They, at home, beat a pretty much one-dimensional Texans team and the Saints. So those are the teams they beat at home. They're 2-2. On the road, they're an impressive, awesome 4-0. They might be the best road team in the league under Mike McDonald, but they're back at home here. And they beat the Cardinals. Where? On the road. When it comes to injuries, Julian Love, who played in that Thursday night game, one of the underrated free safeties in football, is now on IR. And Josh Jobe, one of their starting perimeter corners, is out. So secondary injuries for Seattle, not Arizona. It's the reverse this time, okay? Jonathan Gannon also is very good against Seattle type of offenses. And I mean Kubiak, Shanahan type offenses. Because his defenses do a good job of not biting on play action while also being able to defend the run. Calais Campbell, Walter Nolan, Dalvin Tomlinson, Josh Sweat. This front has done a really solid job against the run and done a good job of getting interior pressure without having to blitz very much, without having to resort extra bodies to the run. Seattle's not very good at running the ball, but they do provide that balance in order to what? Hit play action. Well, Arizona has really good safeties. And I do feel like they're really well scouted and schemed to where they don't bite on that play action. And they are very good against play action. So unlike Washington, who is constantly looking in the backfield to stop the run, they were getting beat down the field. JSN on crossers, all that, right? Arizona, I think, just does fundamentally a much better job. I also think there could be a chance they get some pressure on key passing downs in this game because their front, including Walter Nolan now, is much better rushing the quarterback. Also, the final point here is that Jacoby Brissett, I know we talked about the line, right? Kyler is more important to the line, according to Vegas, according to these people that are in charge of these things. But to me, if you've watched the games with your eyes, and if you've looked at the stats, Jacoby Brissett has been the more productive quarterback. He has been the better fit at quarterback for the Cardinals schematically, and he has just played better. He's played better in terms of explosive passes. He's played better in terms of not taking sacks, protecting the football. And we know Jacoby's good at protecting the ball. That's what he's done best. He has one of the best interception percentages in NFL history. It's very low. So I think the Cards defense can keep them in this game. And I think that with injuries in the secondary, maybe Marvin Harrison Jr. continues to shine. He has a lot more confidence than that Seahawks game where he was actually responsible for 2 interceptions. And Trey McBride is a good tight end, and Seattle seemingly does have some problems with tight ends. So I like Arizona plus a touchdown. I think they hang in this game. They've yet to lose a game by more than 4. I think they probably lose, but I think they stay within a score. So give me Arizona as my first pick. My second pick, we're going to go back to the favorites. The Detroit Lions laying 8 on the road at Washington. Washington's coming off an embarrassing loss to Seattle where I felt like that was probably the most dominant performance I've seen by any team all year, maybe outside of the Chiefs versus the Raiders. That was an utter embarrassment, and the Commanders couldn't do anything. They couldn't stop Seattle, they couldn't move the ball, and Jaden Daniels in the end ended up getting injured, and it nearly looked like the man passed away. Like it was that bad. The whole morale of the team is shaken. And I do wonder if they respond. It's not really like Marcus Mariota is all that much worse than Jaden Daniels. He actually, statistically, analytically, has been better than Jaden Daniels this year. If you look at things like EPA, PFF grade, look at some of the stats, Mariota's actually been the more effective quarterback. You've watched Jaden Daniels in games against Dallas, games against Seattle, games against Green Bay, where he's played pretty poor football. Mariota might actually be an upgrade. But that being said, I think this Washington offense is broken against teams that can play solid coverage and have good secondaries. And Detroit loves to challenge you on the outside. They are a defense that gives up a very low success rate in the passing game. And with Washington having no Terry McLaurin, that means they have no separator. That means they have no vertical threat. That means they have no one-on-one specialist. That means their receiving core is built off Deebo Samuel getting handoffs and screens and a bunch of nobodies that aren't any good at football. Whether you're talking about the rookie Lane, Luke McCaffrey, this is a terrible receiving core. Old man Zach Ertz. The Lions will be able to suffocate them, just like they did to the Bucs, by playing a lot of how they want to play, which is physical press man coverage. This isn't the Vikings that the Lions are playing, where Addison and Jefferson and Hawkinson can win one-on-ones. This is the Washington Commanders without Terry McLaurin, and they have their backup quarterback, who's not an aggressive downfield passer. He's conservative. He'll take the quick throws. He'll throw his screens. Cliff will find his ways. And they need to run the ball, right? The Commanders need to be able to run the ball to have success. Well, the Lions, they're top 10 in EPA against the run. They're 13th in yards per attempt defensively against the run. They're pretty good overall against the run. This is also the Lions, who have lost 2 straight games in the regular season. Never. Like, they don't lose 2 straight games in the regular season under Dan Campbell. They haven't done it since September 25th and October 30th of 2022. So that stretch where they lost 5 straight games. So October the 30th, 2022 until now, that's what, like 3 or 4 seasons? That's incredible. So the Lions are almost guaranteed, based on their history under Dan Campbell and Jared Goff, to win this game. The question will be, can they cover? Well, I think they will cover because, like I said, I don't think that the Commanders will be able to throw the football successfully because I don't think they'll create separation on proper passing downs. They have to run the ball, and the Lions are not bad against the run. And I think on offense, the Lions should be able to do what they want. The Commanders are bad against the run. And they're bad overall on defense. They are 19th in yards per attempt allowed defensively on the ground. They are 32nd in net yards per attempt in the pass game. So net yards per attempt, it's passing yards, but then also including sacks. So this team doesn't get negative plays like the Vikings did. And this team allows a lot of yards because they allow a lot of explosive plays. They are 27th overall in EPA defensively. So they can't stop the run. They struggle to sack the quarterback because their edge rushers are some guy named Jalen Holmes and Jacob Martin. I mean, come on. Their corners, they lost Lattimore. Not that that really matters, but they're not very good at what they want to do, which is man coverage. And now you're playing Amon-Ra. You're playing Jamison Williams. You're playing Sam Laporta. You're playing Jahmyr Gibbs, who are angry and pissed off. They lost to the Commanders in the playoffs as the number 1 seed. It's a revenge game. It's Lions off a loss. It's a great matchup for their defense in the passing game. And it's a great matchup for their offense all the way around. We saw the Commanders get ripped up by Seattle with play action. Jared Goff will be able to do the same thing. I think the Lions win this game. I think they win it by double digits. I will take Detroit to win. I will take Detroit to cover. We're going back to the well with Detroit after they disappointed us last week. Now, a team we should have trusted last week was Josh Allen and the Buffalo Bills. We had a gut feeling, but we didn't go with it. The Bills are now 9.5-point favorites on the road at Miami, and this feels very square and very public of me. But when I break down the game, I do like this spot for the Bills. Last time they played Miami, they won by 10. Okay, 31-21. This spread, for what it's worth, is 9.5. Okay, they beat Miami on Thursday night early in the year. I think it was week 3, at home by 10. Now, the Bills in this matchup have won 14 out of 15 games. 14 out of 15. Josh Allen in his career is 14-2 against Miami. They own the Dolphins. And last season, they beat the Dolphins, I want to say 31-10 in Miami. Okay? Now, some key points for why I like the Bills. The spread in the first game was 11.5, 10.5, somewhere around there. So the Bills failed to cover. But they won by double digits, 10. The Bills, to me, have gotten better. And the Dolphins, since that game, have gotten worse. The Dolphins don't have Tyreek Hill anymore. The Dolphins traded Jalen Phillips. And they probably don't have their best corner this year, Rasul Douglas. So their best receiver, their best playmaker, a guy that you have to take your attention towards when you play him, Tyreek Hill. Jalen Phillips, their best pass rusher, most talented edge rusher. and Rasul Douglas their best corner. Despite that, the spread is under double digits. Yes, it's in Miami on the road. The Bills also in that game didn't have Ed Oliver, which they don't have now, so that doesn't matter. And they also didn't have Matt Milano, who is a really good player at linebacker. The Bills, after they beat the Chiefs and showed their peak performance at home, will get most likely Josh Palmer back at receiver, who is their best perimeter receiver, Teron Johnson, their nickel corner, and Daquan Jones, one of their starting defensive tackles. In that game against Miami, they also didn't have their rookie first-round pick, Hairston, who you watched cover Xavier Worthy all over the field with his 4.2 speed. The Bills also made a key adjustment to their defense in the bye week. They've been much better against the run, which was a problem against the Dolphins in the first game, and they made a critical shift in their safety position. After Taylor Rapp went down, Jordan Poyer became a starter, and him and Bishop have been great. Cole Bishop had the best game of his NFL career against the Chiefs last week. James Cook, I almost called him Jared, is going to be good to go for this game. He said it himself. I would watch out for Christian Benford, who is beat up right now and may not play. That's big for the Bills. But the Buffalo offense should be able to do whatever it wants, whatever it pleases. Allen had 3 touchdowns, only 6 incompletions last time they played. Short passes, screens. Miami sucks at tackling. They have no pass rush. The Bills have a really good offensive line. Allen will have all day to create and find targets down the field. And James Cook went over 100 yards in the first game. I expect him to do that again. The Dolphins are not good on defense in any category. They're bottom 5 on defense in EPA. They're not good against the run. They're not good against the pass. They don't have good corners. They don't have a pass rush. It is what it is. So the Bills are the dominant team. And even when you look at why was Miami moving the ball last time? It was mostly the run game because Tua had 146 yards in that game last time they played, and all of them were short passes. Now the Bills can just play that because no Tyreek Hill, no threat of the deep ball at all. So give me the Bills to win. Give me the Bills to run away with this. The only reason they wouldn't cover is because they're coming down from that Chiefs game. That's the only fear I really have in this game. But from a football perspective, there's really nothing that I fear. The Cleveland Browns -2 is going to be my next pick. This one, I'm also just a little scared about it being a tad too public. But again, this makes sense from a football perspective and a human perspective. So first of all, the football perspective. Why do I have faith in Cleveland, who is not a good team, to win on the road? Coaching. Kevin Stefanski is a 2-time coach of the year for what it's worth. And Jim Schwartz is one of the best defensive coaches in football. They have had a bye week to adjust and game plan and get ready for the Jets, a team that they can beat. They know this. Cleveland knows this. Meanwhile, the Jets have Aaron Glenn, who is the biggest jabroni walking a sideline in the NFL. He's not a good coach. At the same time, the Jets have made some big decisions. They have basically decided to tank for the rest of the year. They have traded Quinnen Williams, their best defensive lineman, and they have traded Sauce Gardner, their best corner. Not only are they the best defensive lineman and best corner on their team, they're one of the best in the league. On top of that, they have now randomly decided to bench Quincy Williams, probably their best linebacker. The Jets, the only chance they have in games is to be able to run the ball with Breece Hall. You can't do that against Cleveland. Cleveland is second best against the run in yards per attempt this season defensively, only behind the Patriots. Fields also as a passer is very slow to process. When you're slow to process against Jim Schwartz, he'll rather catch you with a blitz or Myles Garrett's coming to town, okay? He is going to terrorize Justin Fields. The Browns are also very fast. I don't think Fields is really going to have a lot of success running either. The Browns have an elite defense, and the Jets don't. The Browns are 7th in points per drive allowed, and they're top 5 in basically every statistic known to man, while the Jets are 23rd in yards per attempt against the run, meaning the Browns probably can run it. That was with Quinnen Williams. Now imagine how bad they are, because Quinnen Williams, number 1 against the run according to PFF in the NFL. Big loss. 22nd in pass yards, pass net yards per attempt. So they're 23rd against the run, 22nd against the pass in those statistics. Not a good defense. They're also 32nd in interceptions. So they don't turn it over. So the chance of the Jets winning because of turnovers is rather low. And just on top of that, the Jets are not a good team. They might be the worst team in the league. They're 27th in points per drive offensively and 27th on defense. They have no admirable trait. The Browns have admirable coaches. The Browns have an admirable defense. The Browns have stats that actually mean something. Like, they can stop the run. They can get to the quarterback. Denzel Ward can take Garrett Wilson out of this game. He's an elite corner. Myles Garrett can get to Justin Fields. And on the other side, I think that Jets defense struggling to figure out how to live without Quinnen Williams and Sauce Gardner is going to have some issues just figuring that out schematically. And I do think Cleveland's tight ends can make some plays happen here. I think Jerry Jeudy can. And I think that Judkins could have a big game. As long as Gabriel doesn't poop himself, I think the Browns will win this defensive battle. I'll lay the 2 on the road with the better defense, with the team that has better morale, more to play for, the team that's not giving up. The Jets might not even want to play this game for all that we know. So the Browns -2 is that third pick. Okay, fourth pick, actually. The Los Angeles Rams are our fifth pick. Now, I like the Niners. So you guys probably know this. The Niners are like my NFC adopted team. I'm a Kyle Shanahan stan, and I love rooting for the Niners. When it's not the Patriots, the team that I like to root for the most is the 49ers. And I just don't see any way that they win this game. The 49ers have done a miraculous job with their coaching this year. I think they by far have had the best coaching effort of anyone this season. And I have gone on to say on the Bottom Line View that if Kyle wins this game, you should put him in the Hall of Fame because it's next to impossible. The Niners are beat up. Their defense is without their first round pick now, Michael Williams, who got injured last game. Nick Bosa, top 5 defensive end in the league. And Fred Warner, the best linebacker in football. They also have numerous other players that are beat up, like Alfred Collins at defensive tackle, who made the punch out against Kyron Williams. Bryce Huff, who hasn't played for multiple weeks at defensive end, their best pass rusher remaining. And even their new addition, Keon White, is already injured. This team is a complete, just like, I don't even know how to describe it. I don't even know how to explain it to you guys. Like, if the Niners were healthy, this would be a great game. They are nowhere close to healthy. The Rams are completely healthy. They have won their last 2 games 69-17. Against the Saints, it looked like a practice. And I don't think people realize how good the Rams are right now. The Rams have probably the guy that would win the MVP as of right now. It's rather Stafford or Drake May. And I think that Stafford would win the vote. So they have maybe the best quarterback in the league, according to that. They have one of the best receivers, Puka Nacua, and one of the best receiver duos in Devontae Adams and Puka Nacua. Their offense is number 1 in success rate and number 1 in rush success rate. They're running the ball really well. The Niners might be without numerous run defenders. Good luck. Their defense, LA, believe it or not, is also number 1 in EPA defensively. So guys, in success rate, they're the best offense in the league. And in EPA, they're the best defense in the league. Over the last 2 weeks, they have allowed a 7% rush success rate. I know that might not sound crazy to a lot of you, but the second best team is around 30%. So that's ludicrous. Meaning Christian McCaffrey probably won't have anywhere to run. Okay? Also, the first game was just a complete masterclass by Kyle Shanahan. Like, the Rams by the third quarter kind of figured out how to move the ball. Even the end of the second half. And they kind of did whatever they wanted against a beat-up Niners defense. The Niners barely hung on due to the guts of Mac Jones and the play calling of Kyle Shanahan. Right? And the Niners offense is healthier in this matchup. They have George Kittle, Jawan Jennings, potentially Ben Barch, all 3 starters. Big deal for this offense. But no Ricky Pearsall, no Brandon Ayuk. And the Rams have gotten a lot better offensively. and defensively. They're going to be pissed off about how that last game went. They were caught off guard. And now it's Sean McVay's opportunity to counterpunch Kyle Shanahan after Kyle Shanahan threw the first punch. And given that McVay has the much better team, much better roster, like not even close, he should find a way to win this game by a touchdown, even on the road. So yes, the history suggests take the dog here, take Shanahan over McVay, but I just don't know how they win this game. I don't think they can rush the quarterback. I don't think they can stop the run. I respect their secondary, but Puka and Adams are going to make their plays. And I just feel like the Rams are going to get pressure on defense and probably change up their philosophy in the back end, probably play more aggressive coverage and not let Mac Jones throw 2-yard pass after 2-yard pass. So I have the Rams minus 4.5. I would lay it on the road. The bonus bet / sixth pick will be the Patriots because we bet them every week like it's going out of style. And I'm just going to continue this philosophy. I understand they didn't cover last week. And there are times you should get off teams, but they've been very good to us. And I'm going to continue it. But it's not without reason. I kind of feel like the Bucs are a bit overrated in this spot. There are a lot of people that are picking the Bucs. There are a lot of people that are betting the Bucs. And there are even more people saying that they could blow the Patriots out. I don't see that at all. I still feel like the Patriots are underrated. In fact, I have the Patriots power ranked above the Bucs, at least this current version of Tampa Bay. Now remember, Tampa Bay offensively doesn't have Chris Godwin, doesn't have Mike Evans, doesn't have Bucky Irving, and they've struggled at right guard and right tackle for the last few weeks. Now they might get Luke Gedeke back, which would be big for their offensive line, their right tackle. He is practicing, but he's limited, and he's in the first week of his 21-day window. They haven't activated him yet, so pay attention. That is a big deal, because without him, they have really struggled to block anyone. And the Patriots would get pressure there and would cause some stops, because nobody can run on the Patriots. Like, no one. They're the best rushing defense in the league by a decent margin. They have yet to allow a 50-yard rusher this season. And with the current state of the offensive line of the Bucs, they can't run the ball. So it's going to be constant second and third and longs for the Bucs. On top of that, their receiving core, they only really have a Emeka Egbuka that scares anyone. Tez Johnson's fast, but he's very raw. And I feel like Marcus Jones is a great matchup for Tez Johnson because he's very athletic and fast, but he isn't big and he isn't great at the catch point. So Marcus Jones is a really small, quick, twitchy, fast corner. That's a perfect matchup. Christian Gonzalez can limit Emeka Egbuka, and I'm not scared of anyone else. Truly. I'm not scared of their run game. I'm not scared of Cade Otton. I don't see it. And Baker hasn't been playing as well recently. He has been feeling the pressure. Milton Williams and Barmore will push the pocket and provide some trouble there. Mike Vrabel's really good with game plans in terms of rush lanes and things like that. Also, I love Mike Vrabel as a dog. He's one of, if not the best coach as a dog that there is in the league. He proved that against the Bills. Other than Mike Tomlin, he's the most profitable coach betting the spread there has been over the last few years. Right? That's a fact. That's a thing. And it's a lot because he covers these spreads as a dog and he wins the game outright. People continue to say the Patriots haven't played anybody, but they did beat the Bills on the road. In fact, the Patriots haven't lost a game on the road yet. They play on the road here, okay, against a beat-up Bucs team. Defensively, they'll probably be without Hassan Reddick, who is one of their two best pure pass rushers. It's a pretty big deal. They do have a good secondary, and it will be a challenge for the Patriots, but they just played the best pass defense in the Atlanta Falcons. They just played arguably the best defense in football in the Cleveland Browns. And Drake May found ways to have success in those games. So I don't see why he can't against the Bucs, especially considering the Bucs love to blitz. And May has an 81.6 PFF grade against the blitz, which is 7th in the NFL. He also has a 72% completion percentage for 745 yards, 6 touchdowns, and only 1 interception. So he's been good against the blitz, which Todd Bowles loves to blitz. McDaniels is also very, very familiar with Todd Bowles' defensive scheme because Todd Bowles was with the Jets for a number of years. So at least at a fundamental level, McDaniels has faced it many, many times. So he knows it from a fundamental level. The Patriots have the better offense. I think their quarterback's playing better. I think their defense, the defenses are pretty even, in my opinion. So Tampa is at home, and they are coming off the bye. But I don't love how their offense has been playing. They scored 9 points against a beat-up Detroit, and they only had 212 yards against the Saints. So I don't think people have been paying attention to how the Bucs have been playing, especially on offense. Maybe Gedeke solves some of that. But I think New England is still better than people think. Drake May's still better than people think, and I wouldn't be shocked if they pulled this upset. Try to get a 3, but at 2.5, I would still take it. The Bucs tend to win by 1 or 2 points, even if they do win this game. I think they've won 2 games at home by 1, if I'm not mistaken, including beating the Jets, barely. So there it is, guys. My best bets for Week 10. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, Gronk, spike the like button. We'll see you in the next one. Over, under, best bets. We've been hot on those. We've been doing really well. We've been a bit up and down on our spreads, but for the totals, we've been doing pretty damn solid. So tune into that one, man. Gronk, spike the like button, subscribe, jabroni. Peace.